And good Friday morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. If you feel like you're cold, well, you absolutely are. We're waking up at 25 right now. It'll more than double before it's all done. Expect clouds today in 54. It's one of the thickest frost I've seen in a while outside. It's white. Don't be confused with snow. It's not. But boy, we sure have it. Make sure to warm your car up. And again, by saying that, I use caution on that. There's areas that if you leave your car running with the door open, it may not be there when you get back. Hate to even put those clauses, don't you? In some areas of America, it's even illegal now to warm your car up. They see it as you doing something to the ozone or, yeah, I don't have all the answers. Just telling you what I know. I do hope you've got a smile and we're ready for this. We've got a lot of hard news stories to give you today. Now, I want you to be here at 8 a.m. We're going to have a special guest. Head of the Boys and Girls Club, Ricky Hood, is going to join us, and we'll tell you more about it. He's going to ask for help from the community. It's a shame that he would have to ask for this help. All that's coming up this morning beginning at 8, but as we'll talk about what happened last night, you will more than see why he's asking for your help. Serious matter in the Meridian area at this point. As each and every weekday morning, we turn to Collinsville, Mississippi. We go there for the Collinsville Baptist Church, and today's message, well, it really fits with what's going on throughout our area today. There's darkness amongst us. He doesn't word it quite like that, but well, I'm going to let Brother Ben tell you more about it.
One of the wildest stories in the Bible was when Jesus was walking through the Gentile region of the Gadarenes. All of a sudden, two demon-possessed men jumped out, and those demons, through the mouths of those men, began to beg Jesus not to destroy them. They begged Jesus to instead cast them out into the herd of pigs that was nearby. Jesus granted their request, and as soon as they entered those pigs, those demons drove that whole herd of pigs into the nearby lake and drowned them all to death. And what a story. Beloved, the spiritual forces of darkness are real and are hell-bent on your destruction. They would love to do to you what they did to those pigs, and you better believe they are at work in our community today. Therefore, you need the spiritual protection of Jesus. Are you covered and secured by the blood of Jesus? Well, you can be today. Cry out to Him, ask Him to forgive you of your sins and to be your Savior, and make Him Lord of your life. The darkness cannot overcome the light of Christ. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. Make no mistake, a lot of people will say, oh, you're wrong, but it is. There is evil that walks amongst us. There's no way around it. There's only one simple answer to that. It's to have a friend. His name is Jesus, and there's not a single person that can take you down with Him. Just keep that in your mind. Make a note of that, because there's truth to that. And the older I get, the more I realize that. Age comes wisdom, doesn't it? I'm not saying I'm the smartest whippersnapper, but, well, I catch on after a little while. How are you? I do hope good. Everybody's doing it good, except, well, maybe these 20 people. Let's take a look at this that are sitting in the cold at the moment as we go over to a power outage on Highway 494 this morning. There are roughly about 20 people in this area here without power. They're working to restore this. EMEPA has dispatched crews in the area to get this fixed. Again, you'll be able to notice these folks. Their hair will be messed up, and they won't be as sprinkled-eyed and bushy-tailed without their coffee. Hopefully that's going to be up before long. We'll check back in soon with EMEPA to find out more about that. Ted Stevenson, Acts chapter 2:38. Appreciate that. I'll glance at that in a little while. Joy, how are you today? Also, Lenny Timms, Roy Ellis. I see Gene Oltner up today. And it is cold, Gene. I agree with you. Clarence is joining us. Tony Keller is up. Beth Vick. So good to see all of y'all. Mike Dallas up and stirring today. And as I said, it is a chilly day. Make no mistake on that. Well, let's get into some of the events that have shaped our area over the last 24 hours. Yesterday in downtown Meridian, this would not be far from where not long ago we had a murder in downtown Meridian. This was just a simple accident, but it was in the same area to give you, a place to start to know where I'm talking about. As we pull this up, a person was hit by a car in downtown Meridian. they would flee the scene. As we look at this, this happened on 4th Street. As we zoom in on this, right down here, 25th Avenue and 4th Street. They were hit by a car, and we don't know much more than that at this point. We'll try to get an update from the Meridian Police Department. I don't think the injuries were life-threatening at all, but still, someone hit by a car. Downtown Meridian. Woof. As I went out and about yesterday, I told you that I did think that there had been some burglaries overnight. I didn't have all the details, so after we got off the air, I hit the streets, and yes, of course, it was right. 3 businesses were hit the night before last. As we would, let's take a look at what we've got here. At first, we pull this up. Here we go. This is Babers, where they lease furniture. This was here on 8th Street. You can't miss that. Across the street is Rodney's Muffler. They would break in the back door of this business. No, it didn't take much. They began this right here at 8:30 rather, in the afternoon at National Sales and Lease. Again, this is on 8th Street. This would be up by Church's Chicken, by J&J Tire, in that area is where they were the first business, and they would move down the street to Babers. Now, we don't like crime, do we? The next place, I made those 2 rounds. This is where I headed next. I made it over to Tobacco Vape. Let's pull up this picture here. This just shows you it's the same people doing this. This was definitely the Newport Power Bandits as they strike. And you go, well, what are you talking about? It's that bunch that comes in and kills the power to a building, breaks in, and then starts taking things. And as always, they move in for a specific item. That's Newport cigarettes. They really prefer the 100s, but in a pinch, they'll take the regular packs. Roughly, as I spoke to the owner, they had about $18,000 worth of merchandise stolen from them. That's a lot. And you go, well, he's got insurance. Not anymore. He's been broken into so many times in the Meridian area that his insurance dropped him because he was such a high risk. So the store owner out $18,000. They would make their entry through a window into the store. Quick, they took a watch, and I think they took a jacket or 2. But for the most part, it was Newport cigarettes as they knocked out that power. And why do they do that? To kill cameras so that you can't see who it is. Make no mistake, I have everything here on this. When power goes out during bad weather, before the generator kicks on, to cover everything, I've got everything on backup battery power. Cameras, lights, and that's what you need if you own a business, is to make sure to run your cameras on this so if that power goes out, it clicks on and you don't miss a beat and you have your bad guys. Something to keep in mind. As we look at this story, here we go. Over the last, less than 2 weeks, a little over a week, Revive Wellness, downtown Meridian. Rose's Express has been hit in College Park. Mobile Fix in College Park. San Marcos Mexican Restaurant there in College Park area. Burger King also in College Park area. Tractor Supply has been hit on the record twice. It's much more than that. 2 that I can confirm. Raising Cane's on North Hill Street was hit. Also, Hair Queen was hit there on 8th Street, and Dairy Queen was hit, along with the new round of businesses that we just got. It just keeps getting worse and worse for the criminals because they don't want to work. Why should they? You're providing a living for them. And without a large police presence, and again, let's make it perfectly clear, I'm not blaming the police officers a bit. They work hard. They're overworked. It's at that administration level, a little bit above that. Up there, people that make decisions and slide pieces of paper with stamps on them. That's who we're calling out on all of this. We've got to have more done in our community so that we can all earn a living. Put the bad guys away. We had a snatch and grab in the county, and you go, well, what is a snatch and grab? I spoke with Ward. I started getting text about this. What's going on? We would go down Highway 45, just really close to the outpost is what it used to be called. This was right at the Clarkdale County line to where someone would be in the store. And let's zoom this up. What do? It's called a snatch and grab when they don't use a gun, but when the drawer of the register opens up, they reach in and grab the cash and out the door they run. And they would do just that, and they jumped in a car and fled the scene. Still being investigated as I spoke with Ward last night. They were in Collinsville making an arrest of another bad guy. I said, what happened at the theft code? He goes, well, that depends on which one you're talking about. Sort of busy at this one. They took a bad guy off the streets, and that's good. We do appreciate that. This bad guy they're looking for. Hopefully we'll get some information and some pictures of who this is to where you might can help identify who it is to get them off the streets where they won't do it again. And if you're a clerk watching, be careful of that. Between now and this end of this year, it's going to only get worse as the economy is a little shaky. Our brother Joe up at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue has made gas kind of high. And, well, there's folks that didn't want to work to begin with. And when the free cash starts kind of ending out, well, they want yours. We know that. We want to put a stop to it. Now, let's get into some harder issues that have gone on in the community. As we all know this, it's been tough. JJ, what you said, Mississippi Highway Patrol has offered to help the Meridian police force with no response from the mayor, police chief, or city council. Per Chris. Pretty strong, isn't it? D. Severe, how are you doing? Vicky Stewart is up also. Now, if you've watched me or followed my page over the last, say, 2 weeks, this has all been building. And make no mistake, it's almost like clockwork. When I start reporting, there's shots here, and it's rapid, more than 1, 2, 3, 4 times a day, but no one's hit. Bet your boots that something bad is coming, and it's no different. It even got to a point, and always pay attention. I don't know how to, other than just put it out of be alert, be cautious in an area when I feel that there's an area of town that could be at risk. I did make a post yesterday of there were people riding through the air firing a gun out the window randomly, just in the air. They wasn't shooting at anything in particular, but they were shooting in the air. It was a wild, wild west day. I think I can put it that way. We had reports of gunfire, and we look at this. 29th Avenue. This is where I put this out. Use caution in the area of 29th Avenue and 20th Street. This is how this started out. Car driving around, and if I post something like that, seriously, pay attention to it. I get a lot of information from the community of things that are going on. And it's not just Meridian. I get it from other areas, and I'll post it when I get those as well. But when I do that, please take heed to what's going on. It's not just put up there for likes and things. Because I've had people say that, you just do that so that people will click and like. No, it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with your safety. And that's what we're here for. Then we would have reports of gunfire. Let's move over to 43rd Avenue. We had no injury or damage, but lots of gunfire there also. As the day went on, we would have more. Then we would have reports that someone had just been shot. We had a police officer nearby, heard it, ran out. Matter of fact, somebody told me that the guy was getting a shower and heard it, ran out of his house, and he found a gun laying in the street. Someone had been shot and put into a car and taken to the hospital. Now, I have to give that a boy to someone when they go above and beyond their job, and I think that's where we are on this. As that call came in, we had more police officers that heard this, that they knew that somebody was going to the hospital. We had a police officer make a move and head that direction to wait to see who dropped them off. A lot of times they pull up to a hospital and they just basically throw somebody on the sidewalk and drive off. That's most likely what was going to happen yesterday. And with that being said, a police officer arrived just in time as they were going to do that. The people involved were arrested. Lots of marijuana, lots of shell casings up in the car. Someone went to jail. We hadn't got all the details on that yet, but it was a smart move by the police officer. Imagine if we had more cops that could do that. Shocking, isn't it? Boy, we could sure cure our problem. We're really down on the amount of police officers that we have in the area. You will hear from administration level, we have 50, we have 60 people. Yes, we do. There's a lot of administrative people listed in that. The clerks, the people that type, secretaries. I'm not knocking them. That's what their job is. But people that can go out and put cuffs and put people in the back of a car. We're somewhere south of 17. What's the population? 39,000? Pretty serious there. But they were taken to jail, those guys, those bad guys. As we look at this, we pull this up. Now, this person was shot. He was shot in the head. He would be rushed inside and later rushed to a Jackson hospital for treatment. We don't know what the condition is this morning, but it's not good of that person. I don't know the name or identity yet, but I do know that they were in not so great shape as they were taken to Jackson. Well, I'm being told by others that possibly a bullet lodged. We don't know how that's going to end up. As the day progressed in Meridian, I got a note that said Ricky Hood had made a video. So I scrambled around and found it. And we're going to have him here this morning. And that's why I said I want you to join us. As Ricky Hood would make a plea to the community. I made the report the day before of the Boys and Girls Club. It's a nationwide program that helps kids. And Ricky is really involved. I have yet, and I'll say this to him when he comes in this morning, I have yet to meet anybody that can't say something good when his name is brought up. Ricky Hood is one of those that gives from the heart, is in a part of the community, and he made a plea from the community for help to escort the buses, the kids home to make sure that they have safety. Now, how bad is that? He even goes on to say that he's asked for help from city officials and yet to get it. Now, Ricky's going to be here to explain all that this morning. And while it's done, he was dropping off kids the other afternoon at Western Gardens, and I'm telling you, somewhere between 40 to 60 rounds of bullets were fired. You won't find that in print anywhere, but that's what really happened. People would emerge from the woods from behind Western Gardens with guns, start firing. Somehow or another, those kids weren't hurt. But he's asking for help. It's bad when we have to do this. But we do what we have to make sure the safety of children are okay. And then what happens is the night progressed. I came to the studio when I was sitting here. I was making notes of what we were going to talk about today, and I get a note that there had been a shooting. This time it would be, across town. It would be east of Highway 39. 2 people are shot, is what I'm told. And this is what I posted immediately when we found that. Metro was dispatched. The Meridian Police Department were dispatched. And within 15 minutes, I would learn that we had a death. Someone was shot. A drive-by shooting happened last night. This would be Old Meridian Road, Dale Drive, right in there. This is behind EMEPA. This is behind Walmart, that direction in there. And if you go down 45, Mississippi Power sits down here in that Y in there is where all of this went down. A 15-year-old child became our 13th murder victim of Meridian. We have another juvenile that is in the hospital. I checked just a moment ago. Okay, is what we understand. Not life-threatening at this point. Still shot. One was shot on this side of the road. The other child made it back to the apartment complex. The other one died on the side of the road in Meridian as we look at this. And this is what I posted here. 13th murder of the year. Now, if something were to happen to that other person that was transported to Jackson, that would make 14. I look back at my notes. We are at, last year we had 17, if I am not mistaken, 17 murders. I'll have all my notes up here. And the year before that, we had 15. These numbers are high. Crime is high. We need something done. We've yet to hear from our city officials. That would be the mayor, the police chief. We must hear from you. You or who got the votes to be in there. Now, Jimmy did appoint the police chief. A lot of you are upset over the decision of the city council. They got rid of Chris Reed, and look what we've got now. 2 years from now, you can cast a vote and fix a lot of this. Remember those who went in and cast their ballots of no for Chris Reed. Where is our city? They all thought they were making a change in the right direction, said they knew more than the police department did. It needed a change. Well, they got their change. We've got death. We've got awful things going on in our city where people don't even want to step out. I'm not trying to scare anybody. This is reality in our town. This is what it has become. Someone gets murdered, we don't hear anything. The last murder, we didn't get a press conference. I hope we'll get one on this. This does involve a child. Someone speak. We have heard, I've got a plan. Give me 15 months. Give me a year. We cannot wait. There will be an election in 24, and it will certainly change things, especially when we don't hear from the elected officials about anything. It doesn't matter if you're a mayor, if you're a council person, we want to hear from you. Step up and let us hear. Say something. What are you doing for your people that voted for you? We cannot take any more death in this town. We can't take any more robberies. The business owners have to, they've got to make a living. Y'all know that. Imagine right now, how many small business owners do we have right now watching? Can you stand to take an $18,000 loss the next time somebody breaks in, or even higher? Can you take that off your bottom line? Who do you have to lay off to make things meet, to make your power bill, to pay your employee? $18,000, that's a lot. There's very few companies that clear $18,000 a month. It just doesn't happen. You make enough to get by and pay your employees and make a little bit to eat off of. We cannot handle this. These people are running the streets of Meridian. I hate to be on a soapbox, but this is all true of what's going on in our community. We wait to hear from them. Lord knows I hope somebody will speak up. We don't need any more children hurt. Imagine that. And I've had so many of you telling me this. I've got a 15-year-old at home. Look at your child right now if you're watching me. Can you imagine something happening to your child like that, being shot in a drive-by shooting? It hurts. I send condolences. I send prayers to the family of these children that were hurt and killed. This is not the first, and I'm afraid to tell you, this is not the last. We've got a month and a half left of 2022. How many more names are going to be added? It's got to stop. I'm going to check your forecast next before I get too wound up here. Tell you about what's going on today. And this is going to be a big show for us this morning as we move into this. And again, we'll be on television also this morning at 8 o'clock. I want you to listen to Ricky. He's a community leader. He knows. He's been in the trenches. He's there every day. He takes care of these kids. He knows things that you and I have no idea about that goes on in our community. I want to hear from him. He's going to talk this morning, so join us. We'll be right here, YouTube. We're also going to be on Facebook. Then we'll be on television. There's all kinds of ways to reach us and listen to us this morning. Be a part of it. Let's take a stand for our community. Now, I'll be back with that cold forecast next. Y'all don't rush off. We got a lot more to talk about. We'll be right back. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. As we start this morning, as I mentioned before, it's very chilly. There's so much news I probably won't get to in this half hour that we spend together every day. So let's go ahead and get into what we need to cover first and let you know all about this weather. Let's check in on that.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Our record highs, our record lows, 1930, it was hot, 83. That was even before my dad came along, 1930. In 1951, we would have a very cold morning of 20. We got close to it this morning, didn't we? 51, 20 degrees. As we move ahead to look and see what's going to happen today, we see 54 Meridian. It's going to be cloudy for the most part. 54 as we head up Highway 19 toward Philadelphia and move on up 15 toward Louisville. East of there, we'll move into the Macon, Mississippi area, about 53 as we make it to Stark, Vegas. We're looking at 52. Over to the west, we'll see 55 in Vicksburg, and to the south, warmer to the coast. As we move east into Bama land, we'll see Tuscaloosa at Roll Tide, sitting at 55. Cooler in Burma land at 53, and we'll see about 54 also there in Livingston, Alabama. To the south, we're looking at 55 in Alabama. Now, we look across the nation. We're at normal temperatures this time of year. Next week, we'll start getting out of these 50s as you'll see this warmer weather easing across. It'll warm up a little bit. Let's look at that. Here's our 7-day forecast as what to expect. Today, 53 is all we're going to get. Tonight, we're back down to below freezing once again. There's a lot of cold folks out there, y'all. 30 degrees tonight for a low. Saturday night looks a little bit warmer now. It was forecasted to be cooler earlier in the week, and it's warmed up well to freezing. Believe it or not, that is warmer compared to what we had forecasted. Sunday, the best we'll see is 50, and we'll get down to below freezing once again to 30 degrees Sunday night. So cold when you get up Monday morning and go off to work. By Monday, we're at 55, and then the change starts coming as we move into Wednesday. 63 for high, 61 on Thursday. Why? There's a chance of rain being mixed in there, so the temperatures will get warmer as we look at that. And let's go ahead and look at this outlook as we get to Thanksgiving Day. It's showing us that we're going to be at 61. As we move past that, we get into all the way through the 2nd of December. Believe that or not, we'll get to 67 on the last day of the month. Back to those 60s as we head into December. That's a brief outlook of what's coming down the road. Colder this week, warmer next week. As we're winding down November, not much going on now as we turn to the National Hurricane Center. It's absolutely clear out there. Again, at this time of year, the threat of tropics goes away and it turns to tornadic activity in our area. Stay with me as we go into these winter months, as this is our second big round of when bad weather breaks out and we have tornadic activity. As always, we'll be here to walk you through that with the weather. What is the fishing going to do today? We go out to Chet's Paint and Body. Chet tells us somewhere around 7 o'clock this morning through about 9 o'clock will be good. Now, you'll be cold. I have to warn you there. Calm wind becoming northeast around 5 miles an hour this morning. Chilly, chilly, chilly. So if you got to fish, that's what to expect there. As we said, there's been a lot in our community. We do hope that you take what I say seriously. I do want you to do that. We watch this every day. We're behind the scenes. When it's calm, you don't see a lot of activity. When it picks up, we have a response there. We did have an accident yesterday. This was over on 42nd Street. I don't know if you saw this, but here's the scene of that, of a car that was bumped there. As we see that, I think everybody was all right. Just a fender bender taken care of as we moved across there. We had an accident on 23rd Avenue also yesterday in the city limits of Meridian. And then Highway 39 North Hills. Metro was called out. As you come down past Marvin's there where North Hill Street is on Highway 19, we had a wreck there as well. Several little incidents and fender benders throughout the town. Slowed traffic down a little bit. Earlier this morning on I-20, we had a wreck coming into Meridian. It's all cleaned up now. Traffic is flowing once again, thank goodness. But it was at mile marker 153, if you didn't see that this morning. Meridian Police Department was out early, along with the fire department there. The right lane was closed for about 20 minutes. I'm telling you, it was like NASCAR. They got that cleaned up quick. Got everybody back to safety. Let's see what else we've got going on this morning. The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department, I want to mention this before we go also, made a big arrest there. As we pulled this story up, 3 arrested after fleeing. 10:45, we got this late yesterday, a traffic stop near the intersection of Highway 19 and 20th Street. The vehicle fled, speeds greater than 110 miles an hour. Our Sheriff's Department got them. They've been doing a really good job. As we talked about the arrest that was made, y'all remember that, of the guy that was from Oklahoma that broke out of jail? Big thank you to them for going above and beyond, doing their job of taking some bad guys off our streets. Appreciate y'all very much there. And again, nothing I've said is against any police officer. I direct my comments to our administration level, those that can make a difference, who make the decisions of what goes in Meridian. When something is not done, it's time for a change, and I think we're at that point. I don't think anybody disagrees with me. You can only sit back and coast so long. We need help. Again, 8 o'clock. Make a note. That's an hour and 1 minute from now. Be back here. We got a lot to talk about as we'll roll into this show this morning on a Friday, already November the 18th, where Meridian, Mississippi, our 13th murder of the year. Be back. We're going to discuss this even more, even further, as we start your Friday. Thank you, and God bless, and thank you for being a part of this all here at the Scotty Ray Report.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: